Hello family, this is Dollar Will. I am making this video in response to a video posted by Subzero3639. He earlier in the week he posted a video about the J. Morrison Tulsa real estate project, and someone in the comment section didn't believe it was a good investment, and the back and forth with that commenter uh, at some point got to the subject of what's the better investment, real estate or stocks. I think that's hard to get at. The best between the better investment is the one you understand, the one whose rules you understand, because beyond that it gets to be too general. Not all pieces of real estate have great appreciation, and not all stocks have great appreciation. So you have to know the rules of the game of which one, no matter which. But what they have in common is timing is important to the purchase of both. And so, from my standpoint, I'm a stock trader. Learning how to read a stock chart can help you in purchasing real estate, because if you can read a stock chart, you know about the macroeconomic environment, like the where what the status of the U.S. dollar is as it relates to, say, interest rates. And so interest rates is important to purchasing a home, and also a home in itself is a collection of a whole lot of um, materials. It cuts across many sectors of the economy. That's why home purchases it's a measurement that's used to gauge like the health of the economy, because so much goes into a home. You have you have materials like masonry and concrete. It might be a brick front home. You gotta have, in most cases, concrete for the foundation. You gotta have you got maybe it's a stick frame or steel. You got copper wire running through for the electricity. You got appliances in there. You're going to end up buying furniture. You got gypsum for the drywall, and everything I mentioned. There are companies behind those products and those materials, and all of those they're represented on the stock market. And so when the price goes up in those materials, it's reflected in the price of the home. It gets passed on to you. So nothing is really isolated and stands alone. Housing is not exempt from the macro economy, and I say the same thing when I find myself in cryptocurrency discussions. You have to find out what external things affect that investment, and and chart reading is essential to that research. Okay, now homes, the benefit, a low down payment. Let's call that leverage. Okay, so leverage is you can use a little bit of money to control an expensive asset. Okay, if it's a rental property, you get rental income, and usually there's some tax write-offs associated with it. Let's see, what is another benefit, and you get the price appreciation when you sell. Stocks, similar thing. You can invest a little bit of money and it can grow over time. It's easier to buy and sell a stock. You don't need a agent. Well, nowadays you don't even need an agent for a home, but it's easier to sell a stock on your own than a house on your own. Okay, and the commission fee is very low, and you can sell a house you can sell a stock in seconds. You can't do that with the home. Many stocks have very good price appreciation. You have no tenants to evict or no roofs to fix. And in some cases, maybe you getting the dividend with a stock or home purchase if you get the timing wrong. So I can't really say that again that one is any better inherently than the other. But I prefer stocks because they're quick. I was talking to a friend of mine who's into flipping homes, and I tried unsuccessfully to convince him that you can buy stocks of home builders and you can participate in the rise or the appreciation in stocks related to housing, and you can make, if you measure it out, you can possibly make the same amount of money as if you own the home. Now, of course, you can't live in a stock, so the benefit of a home is an investment, and it's a basic necessity. Okay, so that's another advantage. But his video got me thinking about my own personal experience with real estate and inexperience. I was in my late 20s. I think I was around 28 years old. I gotten a real good job when I was around 23, and I was making some real good money. And so after about 5 years of acting stupid and buying crazy stuff, I said, it's time to do something responsible, like get a house. Now, what I wanted to do was get a small unit apartment building. So we're talking about like 8 or 9 units. And my plan was to live in one of the units and rent out the rest and hopefully live rent free. That's what I was trying to do. I think at the time, and so we're talking, how old was it? What year was it when I was 28? It was 1992. So in 1992, around that time, I think I was making about $80,000. So that was a lot of money for somebody 28 years old. Okay, so I was rolling in the dough, and so that was my plan. So I spent 2 years looking for an apartment building that fit my requirements. I found one near where the Redskins used to play, RFK Stadium, about 2 blocks away from the subway. There's a subway that puts you within walking distance of the football stadium, and so this apartment building was like within 2 blocks of that. The only problem was the owner wanted $250,000, but it needed so many repairs that by my calculation, I would not have gotten into a good cash positive situation for 10 years. And I walked away from that deal. Okay, so then that put me, and after 2 years, I said, okay, well, maybe I'll just go ahead and get a house. Then I went and put a contract on a house close to the University of Maryland. And right outside the house was a bus stop for the University of Maryland commuter bus. So it was ideal for a student. The house was owned by a contractor. The contractor had already set up the house as 2 separate units. The basement had its own private entrance. The upstairs had its own private entrance. The electricity was wired separately. The backyard was mostly concrete with a basketball court and the off-street parking. It was a corner lot. It was pretty ideal. On the day of the home inspection, it was raining and the basement flooded, and it freaked me out. They wanted $130,000 for that house. When I saw that water, I freaked. I'd never owned property before. The owner had a job in another state. He wanted to leave. He dropped the price of that house from $130,000 down to $95,000. And I was still too spooked to take it. The agent was telling me, look, you can get a pump, a sump pump or whatever. You can get you can pump that out. That can be fixed. It looks scarier. It looks scarier than it is. It's not a big deal. It happens a lot to homes. You shouldn't walk away from this deal. But no, stupid. scared, because this is an example of the best investment is the one that you're comfortable with. I didn't have enough information, enough experience to know. So fast forward a couple months, about 6 months later, I end up in Prince George's County, Maryland, brand new home, new development, $170,000. Beautiful townhouse. Buy the townhouse. 6 months later, the basement floods. The common wall between me and my neighbor, it was a crack developed in it, and long story short, apparently they didn't let the concrete cure. That's what I'm told. And so I came, actually I was out of the country, and the woman that was staying in the house with me, she noticed the flood. And so here I am out of the country. I'm in Africa, and my new home basement is flooded. All right, but fortunately, it was still under contract, and it got taken care of. And to this day, I think about the fact that I was trying to avoid a water problem with a great investment property, and then I ran into the same water problem when I bought a single family home. And if I had it to do all over again, I would have bought that two unit, two family unit home on route to University of Maryland. I could have lived in that one unit and rented the other. I could have bought both units, moved back home for maybe 6 months, and stayed, back home with family for little or nothing. And within 6 months to a year, I could have been back into the housing market, owning a piece of investment property, and then and back out there again. Maybe this time I would find the apartment building I wanted, or maybe I would have chosen to buy a single family home or townhouse again. But I would have still been under 30, owning two pieces of property in DC, in the DMV, instead of one. So that's a long way around the barn to say it's no real easy answer about which is the best. What's best is what you're most comfortable with. Thank you for listening. If you want to talk some stocks, get up on some stock game, as we are in a decline. The decline is still in the major indexes. The high established in January has not been taken out, and it seems to me that we've resumed the downturn. If you want to know more about stock downturn and where to go, you need to go to Dollar Will. That's with one L. That's two L's in dollar, one L in will. And you need to hit subscribe right at the bottom of this video, and hit that alarm button, because I don't make videos every day. But when I make one, you need to hear it, because I'm giving you like some real game. I'm trying not to make unnecessary videos. As you'll see on my channel, I haven't made a video in months. Why? Because we've been going sideways in the market. And I'm not a day trader. I'm a swing trader. So I'm going to give you the big view of what the market is doing, so that you can get some ideas about how to protect your retirement account. Okay? And I will be mindful of the housing market as well, because I do talk about the direction of the interest rate as well, because it's all related. And in these downturns, you want to protect your equity. You want to in equity in your home, and you want to look out for the equity in your stocks as well. So thank you again. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.